The word impeachment is a dirty word, and it's a word that was only supposed to be used in special occasions, high crimes and misdemeanors. In this case, there was no crime whatsoever, not even a little tiny crime. There was no crime whatsoever, and they know it. And they go into those rooms and they close those doors down in the basement, and they say, I'll tell you what they say, they just laugh. Because to them it's a joke. They think they're doing well, but now they're not doing well. Now they're saying, how do we get out of this? Because their poll numbers are way down and they're going to have a tremendous loss in 2020. And that's what's going to happen. No matter how you cut it, it's been very interesting. But to do it on a day like this, where we're in London with some of the most powerful countries in the world, having very important NATO meetings, and it just happened to be scheduled. This was set up a year ago, just happened to be scheduled on this date. It's really, honestly, it's a disgrace.
On this episode of Just Informed Talk, we take a look back at the spy tactics being used to set up President Trump by the Democrats and the deep state. Their blockade with the Russian collusion hoax failed. Now they've moved on to Ukraine and impeachment. And the one thing we know is that President Trump has known their tactics and moves from day one. We are 10 steps ahead. We're going to get into how we got there. Plus, we're going to look at highlights from President Trump's trip to NATO in London and a whole bunch of other news stories you guys are going to want to stick around and check out. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to another episode of Just Informed Talk. I always start by saying thank you if you've hit that subscribe button. If you haven't, come here on the landing page, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you get notified when these videos get posted. We always go over and check the queue boards. Today, we don't have any new queue posts yet. We're at 3649, and as soon as we get some more, I will let you guys know. But like I said, we have a lot to cover today in this episode because we're going to look at highlights from President Trump's trip to the NATO summit in London. Plus, we're going to take a look at some other interesting stories coming out in the news today that will go to show that there is a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes that nobody really wants to acknowledge, especially not the fake news media. And we're going to get into a few other interesting news stories that are pertinent to the impeachment push against President Trump happening as we speak. Before we get into that, though, look, I've talked about this ad nauseum. I'm sure you guys know, but if you're new to this, remember, they are trying to suppress this content. They're using algorithms. They're deleting more and more channels every day. They're doing everything they can in the run-up to 2020 to silence political opposition. So especially if you're a conservative Christian, as I am, and that's what my channel is based off of, they're trying to suppress this content. They're trying to put us in a category of on the border and then try to basically take away 70% of our ability to grow and put us into this, digital gulag that was described by Matt Drudge quite some time ago, and now it is coming into reality. So you guys have to fight that. How do you do it? You hit the share button on this video, watch these last videos, share them on your social media, and get the word out that way. And if you scratch your head, go, what is QAnon the Great Awakening? Watch this video right here. It'll give you all the information you need, plus a whole bunch of other great little tidbits and facts. So I encourage you all to go check that out. But before we get started, I want to remind everybody to come here and use the link in the description to download the Brave browser. Why should you download it? It's free and it's a great product. I use it myself. It blocks ads, so it makes your internet browsing experience that much better. It's just like Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, whatever you're using right now, except it's better. And when you use the link in the description of this video to download it, install it, and run it on your computer and try it out, they'll actually make a contribution to the channel, so it's a win-win. I think you guys should go check it out. They got a built-in VPN and Tor browser. It's a great product, and I really encourage you all to go check it out. So check out Brave browser in the description. Use the link, download it, install it, and run it, and I guarantee you guys will enjoy that. Now, let's get into the latest news stories. First off, we have the fake news Washington Post reporting today. Is Melania Trump sending coded messages, or are we just talking to ourselves? Well, let me ask you this. Was there something interesting about a tweet recently by the First Lady? And the answer is yes, and it relates directly to Q, even though this story, again, is trying to paint Melania as some kind of victim who's calling out for help, when in reality, I think it's quite the opposite. They're just attacking her now because Barron Trump just got attacked and she lashed out rightfully so, against the woman who attacked her son, who's non-political, who's President Trump's son, for no other reason than his name, which is really disgusting if you think about it. But I'll let you guys decide for yourself. Let's look at the evidence. So I highlighted this on my Twitter a while ago, but this happened back December 1st of this year, where I guess Melania Trump put out this video, right, of Christmas at the White House. And you just happen to have this screenshot, which is really cool, which has a actual 17 number domino, so 11 and 6. Make of that what you will, but the fact that one of the ornaments on the tree that's featured in this video is a domino with the number 17 and dye marks on it, tells you that there is something being told to us, maybe a wink and a nod. And then subsequently after this, her son was attacked by a deranged supposed Yale scholar on Capitol Hill while during their testimony, saying that the son of President Trump's name is Barron, but that doesn't mean that he can appoint him into a baron, to becoming a baron. Some ridiculously disgusting attack on a minor who has nothing to do with this, right? The kid just is probably trying to do what every kid's trying to do. Enjoy their life and be successful. So I'm not, getting into this whole mode of let's go into this further, because when Melania Trump came forward and said, basically, you can't say this about my son, she was attacked summarily by the fake news media. And I think it's disgusting. And the fact that we have to talk about it here is just beyond me. But there we are, right? Is she sending coded messages? I don't know, Washington Post. Are you sending fake news on a daily basis? Maybe it's the same answer. So now, just to let everybody know, here's some interesting stories we're going to talk about. Just to let everybody know that everything that's happening is not for nothing. We are in the midst of indictments coming. They were promised by the end of 2019. And here we are with 6 individuals, I believe, multiple individuals, I should say, including George Nader, with direct connections to Hillary Clinton and her campaign, being accused and charged with indictments in a multi-million-dollar campaign contribution, illegal campaign contribution case, right? Now, if you watch the fake news, as we discussed yesterday, the Washington Post ran with this story, except instead of putting a picture of George Nader with, I don't know, Bill Clinton outside of Punta Cana in the Caribbean, right next to Jeffrey Epstein's pedo island, they used a picture of President Trump with George Nader that was completely out of context to the story itself, because the story is about people being charged with funneling money illegally into the Clinton campaign, not Trump's campaign, right? And this is George Nader, the guy who already had been indicted on charges of child pornography and other things. So you have to ask yourself this very important question: did George Nader just turn state's witness as soon as he got into this? And I'm sure the answer is 100% yes, hypothetically speaking, because he understood that the only way he was going to get some kind of deal was to turn over on these people who are now being brought into court. The names of these individuals listed here in the indictment are Ahmad Andy Khawaja of Los Angeles, George Nader, Roy Bolos, Rudy Decker Menjian, Mohammed Mo Diab, Ronnie El Saidi, Stephen Hill, and Thane Whipple. So the 53-count indictment charges them with 2 counts of conspiracy, 3 counts of making making conduit contributions, 3 counts of causing excessive contributions. Long story short, these guys were all involved in funding the Clinton campaign illegally, right? Subverting the actual laws that are in place as far as how political campaign contributions can be made so that more money could be funneled into this campaign. And I would love to see, when we start seeing the indictments unsealed on other foundations related to the Clintons, such as, I don't know, maybe not just the campaign, but also the foundation, the actual Clinton Foundation. That would be an interesting indictment to see unsealed. So we're going to get into this other indictment that's being unsealed today, December 5th, D5. 10 Bronx and Westchester-based members and associates of the Gambino crime family indicted in Brooklyn federal court for crimes including racketeering, conspiracy, loan sharking, obstruction of justice, and bribery. And this reminds me of a few Q posts that just recently, I mean, as recent as last month on Veterans Day, 11/11, Q was telling us to expect something coming from the Gambino crime family. And I mean, we can go back and look at them if you don't believe me. First of all, the first post we have going back, we'll talk about in a minute, from March 25th, 2019, talking about the Gambino crime family, was with that crazy person who killed the mob boss and then said it was all for QAnon, right? You think there was some sort of psychological psyop going on there? You think maybe they were trying to connect QAnon to the mafia and just trying to connect it to any kind of crazy thing so that they could take down Q, because they know what it is, right? And these people are not as stupid as they may seem for the most part. Although, as Q points out, these people are stupid, in fact. But let's look back at this. November 11, 2019, Q says, quote, "Calm before the storm, POTUS. Month day Q campaign initiated. Month day Durham initiated. What famous," and these are the same days, by the way, October 28th, 2017. "What famous crime family did Durham target? Also spearheaded mob prosecutions of the Gambino," which is in the kill box in brackets here, which is very interesting that Q did that just last month, not even a month before the Department of Justice comes out with these two additional defendants charged with related offenses to this Gambino crime family investigation. So yeah, just all coincidences, just nothing to see here. Keep moving. The Genovese and Patriarca crime families. Then it gives us these articles here, and it talks about the CIA abuse investigator John Durham, I should say, who is out there right now in the middle of this massive investigation, which ties a lot of things together. Believe it or not, the Democrats are very tied to a lot of organized crime, it seems. If you look at Ukraine, it wouldn't be surprising to know they're connected to organized crime here in America. So let's just take the facts with, a grain of salt here, and let's look at what Q said, saying, "What ABC agency did Durham target? How are messages sent?" And then it shows this Rolling Stone article about, of course, the nut job who decided to shoot a mob boss and then proclaim that he was being, told to work by Q, which is completely asinine. It's absurd, and on its face, it's ridiculous. But they had to go with it, and they use this to continue to slander our movement and try to paint us as crazy people, right? But it says, what if there's another prosecutor outside of DC assigned by Sessions with the same mandate authority? And that was on December 12th. And you know that this all happened around that time period, right? So don't forget that what Q is saying is that perhaps when they found out that John Durham was opening his investigation and doing this, they were like, well, we got to get on top of this. So they used some stooge pawn, hypothetically, to pull some, disgusting, evil hit on a probably bad person. I don't know if he's a mob boss, can't be that great of a dude, right? But this seems to be what they did, and then they try to connect it to Q, obviously, to go against Trump. You can see it. The writing's on the wall here. Do you believe in coincidences? I have given up on coincidences a long time ago. So that's another interesting story. Of course, they have this new developing story about the passport for Professor Joseph Mifsud is now in Portugal, and nobody's seen him. And we all know the story there. He was used by our own Obama-led FBI, Comey-led FBI, Brennan and Clapper-led intelligence community. He was basically put up to the task of going to George Papadopoulos, telling him about the Russians having emails on Hillary Clinton, so that then the FBI and the intelligence community could start investigating Trump's campaign illegally, because there was no premise other than this intelligence operation, which was set up to it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy. They set it up to set up President Trump. So, take that with a grain of salt, I guess. And now we're going to watch clips from President Trump at NATO, which I think are important. And you guys are going to want to hear what he has to say about everything happening today and how they set him up for this.
The facts are uncontested. The president abused his power for his own personal political benefit at the expense of our national security by withholding military aid and crucial Oval Office meeting in exchange for an announcement of an investigation into his political rival. Yesterday, at the Judiciary Committee, the American people heard testimony from leading American constitutional scholars who illuminated without a doubt that the president's actions are a profound violation of the public trust. The president leaves us no choice but to act because he is trying to corrupt, once again, the election for his own benefit. The president has engaged in abuse of power, undermining our national security and jeopardizing the integrity of our elections. His actions are in defiance of the vision of our founders and the oath of office that he takes to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Sadly, but with confidence and humility, with allegiance to our founders and a heart full of love for America, today I am asking our chairman to proceed with articles of impeachment. I commend our committee chairs and our members for their somber approach to actions which the president had not made necessary.
The facts are on the president's side. 4 key facts: will not change, have not changed, will never change. We have the transcript. There was no quid pro quo in the transcript. The 2 guys on the call, President Trump and President Zelensky, both said no pressure, no pushing, no quid pro quo. The Ukrainians, third, didn't know that the aid was held up at the time of the phone call. And fourth, and most important, the Ukrainians never started, never promised to start, and never announced an investigation in the time that the aid was paused.
Today I understand. I've been with all of these world leaders and done conferences with the world leaders, so I haven't been able to watch. But think of it. They get 3 constitutional lawyers and we get 1. What's that all about? Just that little statement. They get 3, we get 1. We had no representation. We couldn't call witnesses. We couldn't do anything. It is the most unfair thing that anybody's ever seen. They would have done much better if they gave us equal representation, because the public gets it. But just look at today. Now, I don't think too many people are going to watch because it's going to be boring, all right? In fact, you're here. I guess you're here. We'll supersede it, right? But not a lot of people are going to be watching today. But just think of this. Constitutional lawyers, they get 3 and we get 1. What kind of a deal is that? Now, you don't need a constitutional lawyer because there was nothing done wrong. 0 done wrong. And I say it, and I'll say it again. Read the transcript and then listen to what the president of Ukraine said. He said there was no pressure whatsoever. Listen to what the foreign minister of Ukraine, highly respected man, both of them very respected. Listen to what the foreign minister said. And he said there was no pressure whatsoever. That's the only one that counts. But then listen to all of their witnesses, and not one of them said anything that was meaningful other than positive for me. Like the one said, there was no quid pro quo. That's what he said. And he said that I actually told him that. There will be no quid pro quo. I said that. And I said other things that were even stronger than that. And, you know, it's a disgrace that they are doing this. And they're doing it because they think they can't win in 2020. They're doing it because you take a look at their candidates, and their candidates are not doing too well. And they figure this is their only shot. And it's a disgrace because this process was not supposed to be used that way.
Well, I was urging my former colleagues and frankly speaking, the people on the Hill. It was more actually aimed at telling the Hill people, get as much information as you can, get as much intelligence as you can before President Obama leaves the administration, because I had a fear that somehow that information would disappear with the senior people who left. So it would be hidden away in the bureaucracy, that the Trump folks, if they found out how we knew what we knew about the Trump staff's dealing with Russians, that they would try to compromise those sources and methods, meaning we would no longer have access to that intelligence. So I became very worried because not enough was coming out into the open, and I knew that there was more. We have very good intelligence on Russia. So then I had talked to some of my former colleagues, and I knew that they were trying to also help get information to the Hill.
A lot going on today.
Yeah,
Mark.
That's why you have the leaking.
I mean, the fact is, and he had now he didn't authorize it personally, Loretta Lynch, his attorney general, did, and she signed it. But the fact is, you know that she communicated with him, and you know that he's not going to have any fingerprints on this. So let's just say the Obama administration is guilty of violating the Espionage Act. President Obama himself is guilty of it because he communicated on Hillary Clinton's rogue server that was in violation of the Espionage Act.
You know, but
Now, that's why you're hearing all this stuff about Trump and the Russians, and they stole the election from us, etc. They do not want anybody to look into this.
So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed that cut together of all President Trump's clips and stuff from the news and everything that we've been seeing lately that shows us what's actually happening. And I hope that gave you a better perspective. But that's pretty much where we're going to wrap it up. I want to say thank you guys for watching this episode of Just Informed Talk. Remember, come here, click the big red subscribe button if you haven't already. Make sure you watch these videos, share them on your social media, get the word out that way, and leave your thoughts, theories, and insights below. I want to hear what you guys have to say about everything that we're doing here. Also, don't forget to come over here and find me on BitChute. This is going to be a next big move, I think, for this channel, especially given us not knowing what's happening with YouTube. Please come over here and subscribe to me using the link in the description. This is where I'm going to keep uploading other videos and content so that, you know, if anything ever happens to the YouTube channel, at least I'll be able to have somewhere to keep putting content up, right? Because what else can we do after that? But with that in mind, I also want to remind everybody to come find me over here on Twitter at JustinformU, the official Twitter page for Just Informed Talk, where we can connect and have a conversation. It's a great place to connect outside the channel. So again, go check out at JustinformU on Twitter, the official Just Informed Talk Twitter page. Plus, you can come find me over here at JustinformedNews.com, the official website for Just Informed Talk. Links to the Q stuff, different news sites, breaking news, and of course the latest from the channel. All of that you can get there. And a couple other ways you can help out the channel are both financial. You can come over here to Patreon, patreon.com. It's how you guys keep this channel alive. This channel wouldn't have made it this far with what YouTube's done, with the demonetization and everything else, if you guys weren't here making this contribution on a regular basis. So this monthly donation, which you can go sign up for, set and forget, and know you're helping create content on this channel, is what keeps this channel alive. I also have a GoFundMe set up if you guys want to make a one-time or anonymous donation. Links to everything that we talk about here will be in the description, so go check that out. Now, before we go, we do a segment at the end of each one of these episodes called God's Grace is Greater, where we talk about God's grace and how it is truly greater. And today, I want to share an important verse with you. It talks about Christian ethics. This is out of the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 9 through 12. And I want to share these words with you because to me, they speak of things I think we should all take into account as we live our lives day to day. But it says, love must be without hypocrisy. Detest evil, cling to what is good. Show family affection to one another with brotherly love. Outdo one another in showing honor. Do not lack in diligence. Be fervent in spirit. Serve the Lord. Rejoice in hope. Be patient in affliction. Be persistent in prayer. Those things, I think, are things that we can all live by. It's written right here for us to take and use in our everyday lives in understanding how to worship God and be a good Christian and live a good life. It's saying here we have to love without hypocrisy. And you guys know what that means. It means do as you say and just be the person that you represent yourself to be in everything that you do. Be a righteous man or woman for God and live that life on a daily basis. Detest evil. So God's telling us to look at evil and be disgusted by it and cling to what is good. And what is good is God and the sacrifice made by his Son on the cross for our sins and the Holy Spirit that lives in us each and every single day. Show your family affection with brotherly love or with the love that you have in your heart that you know is there, the love you have for Christ. Ask God, make me the man or woman I need to be for you so I can be the man or woman I need to be for my family and friends and loved ones. And also it says, outdo one another in showing honor. That just means live a righteous life and live a life out loud for people to see. A life out loud for God is really what we have to aim for. And that's my message to you to do that, to be diligent, to have a strong spirit in our hearts, and to serve the Lord while rejoicing in hope and being patient in affliction, but persistent in prayer. That's my message to you. Share that with your friends, family, loved ones. Get that out there, because these are the things that are the most important above all else. It's us connecting in a way that we can help others and do unto others and be the Christians that God needs us to be. And that's my challenge to you, is to go out in the world and live a righteous life and do unto others and be a kind, good, righteous man or woman. So that's where I'm going to go ahead and leave it. I want to say thank you guys for watching this episode. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Also, hit it, punch it, tap it, bop it, twist it. Hit the like button if you guys like this content and want to see me make more, but that's going to be it for me. Thanks for watching this episode of Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.